girl. Thank you. You pointed at me?
Yeah. Ooh.
And we're gonna go see Santa now. And I had so much work to get done. I didn't. And we're getting Dada. I had so much work though to get done. I don't think I got it finished. So Santa's gonna get you a present.
Santa's going to get me a present.
He is gonna get you a present. Are you so excited?
Yeah.
I asked in my story for some questions. I got great questions, really, really good questions. So I'm gonna do a Q&A maybe later on in this video or maybe the next video, I'm not sure. Oh yeah, I got this new bonnet. I ordered it off Etsy. She like hand knits them and it's gorgeous. It's keeping my head very warm. Hope everyone's having a great day and a really nice Christmas. Isn't it so cute?
Yeah. You want to go in the pond.
He wants to go in the pond, yeah.
I want to get down the
Let's go then.
Hello.
Hello, Robin. I haven't done one in ages. Like, I don't think I've actually answered any questions. I'm just kind of talking shite most of the time when I'm doing a video and talking about whatever I want. I didn't realize people would actually care about stuff that's going on in my life. But the questions this time round, maybe it's because I haven't asked them in a while, were so good, so insightful. Like, I might be robbing a few of them, but they're really good questions to ask, like stuff that I wouldn't even ask myself or like ask my family members. Conversation starter alert. Okay, so let's dive right in. Well, obviously the most asked question was, how did me and Jason get back together? And then after that, the most asked question was, do you want to have more babies? I'm getting broody at the moment, but I know not to go there because we don't have a house yet. And I've learned from my past mistakes. Now, Jason has been living here for 2 years, which is the longest place he's lived anywhere consecutively, if you know what I mean, independently. We would like to have a home. I'd love to have a garden just for the elemental health. When you're postpartum and in an apartment, especially when I couldn't walk, it would be nice to be able to just sit in the garden while you're breastfeeding and have a bit of fresh air. Like, I wasn't really able to do that. I wouldn't be able to do it here either because our balcony is over the bin room. I've talked about my bin room fiasco. It's pretty bad today. I know I was like, it's not even a big deal, but it actually is. I take it back. It actually is a big deal because Jason was saying that the bin room is like overflowing today. And a lot of the moms that I would have come in contact with, like, you know, moms that you kind of make friends through the internet, or like we were on the same For You page sort of thing, where it felt as if everyone was pregnant at the same time as me, but it was actually just because my For You page is feeding me other pregnant women, you know. But now all those people have gone on to have either second babies or are pregnant again. So I feel a bit like, oh my God, I'm getting left behind, because it's the same as if you're in your early 20s and you can see everyone's highlight reel and everyone's showing that they've just got a new job, you know, you're keeping up to date with people on LinkedIn. It feels as if everyone's getting a promotion because that's what people are sharing. So for myself as a mother, I'm going online and going, oh my God, everyone's continuing on with their family and expanding their families and I'm getting left behind. Do you know, the kind of way? But I'm literally only seven. I'm only 27, so it's not even a big deal. So I would like to have a house. And I had this like idealistic thing where I'd have 3 years in between each of my babies. But I don't know if that's going to be real because there's a lot on for me at the moment in terms of my job. Once B like is in Montessori, I'm kind of like, I have loads of time to do that. And I don't know if I can go back to being pregnant again. But I would love to have more babies down the line when I feel more ready, but I'm just not ready at the moment. The Jason getting back together. I don't know how I tell the story without spilling the whole beans. So basically, when me and Jason broke up, we were still obviously in contact with each other because we share a baby. And that's the biggest commitment. I think more than buying a house together, more than getting married, obviously having a child together is the biggest commitment you can make because you're making that vow that you'll be in each other's lives forever because you share blood. and you have a child together. And it's like a reason you have to meet up. Whereas like if you get married to someone, you get a divorce, you never have to see that person again, you know? So having a child with someone, it's like you are divinely connected to that person because you share another person and you made a person together. We've always had this level of like understanding and love for each other, even when we hated each other. Does that make sense? There were obviously periods where we hated each other's guts, of course. And what trumped it all was the love that we had for each other. And we just needed to work out a few things. Most of it was just maturity, living apart and seeing how well we managed to co-parent, how well you managed to be spending time together, even when we weren't in a relationship, like doing Christmas together and that sort of thing. It really built up our connection in us because we always had the romantic, passionate, intense love for each other. That never went away, and we always were good at that. But what we didn't have was like the security, safety, practical element of love that you need for a relationship to work, especially an adult relationship when you have kids, because we were never given a huge responsibility. We never had to go through anything difficult, really, you know, in the years that we were friends or whatever. That kind of just brought to the forefront all the things that we needed to work on. I just didn't have the capacity because I had postnatal depression and I was just struggling a lot with loads of other things, that I didn't have the capacity to work on the relationship at that moment in time. I just wanted to run away and I wanted to be with my family. It was like I wanted to regress back into being a child, and I wanted someone else to care for me without having to go through because it's hard work trying to work through like a big shift in both of your lives. Like Jason was going through a big shift just as much as I was, except for like the whole body thing and the giving birth, whatever. What we continued to do, and now after a while, like we were always writing each other letters, and Jason would give me flowers if I accomplished anything. Like when I got the Her.ie job for the Mother podcast, he came over with flowers. If I was in the house on my own, like he'd stay over, you know, that kind of way, in a separate room, you know. So we still had that love for each other and we were still very close with each other. So then when I moved in here, there was obviously I was sleeping in here. There was no pressure for us to obviously be romantically involved, but Jason was kind of like, I'm willing to work if you are. It could be a blessing in disguise that you're here. Ha ha. He was like, ha ha, you know? And then obviously from me being here, I was able to witness like the man that he'd grown into, which was such a good dad he is. And then we just fell back in love with each other. And then that's what happened. Well, we never fell out of love, but you know what I mean? We like fell back into each other's arms sort of thing. I think we've really learned good communication. That was mine. I'm a silent treatment merchant. Good communication, conflict resolution. Okay, I'm going to take a break and take a shower and come back. Next question is favorite element of your life right now. So another question I got as well was favorite part of the day. And it has to be in the morning when B first wakes up, because there's this, every morning she wakes up, she like says something random. Should be so random and just say whatever. Obviously she's interested in that. So she went through a phase there being like, what was she saying? She was like, I'm not a lion, when she woke up straight away. That was like the first thing she said. Most of the time now she's just like, Mama, if I'm not in the room when she wakes up, like if I'm in the kitchen or whatever, she go, Mama, I'm in here, as if I don't know where she is or that I'm looking for her. And then now obviously when she wakes up in the morning, she goes, I want to go play at my ice cream shop. It's really nice in the morning when she first wakes up. It's such brightness and lightness into your day, because she's always so happy every morning that she wakes up. And sometimes if she's a bit more sleepy, I'll get in next to her and cuddle her, or she just wants to cuddle into me and I'll lift her in and we'll make breakfast together. She sits on the counter. That's definitely my favorite element of my life right now, and also the favorite part of my day. Okay, how often do you and Jason do date days / nights? Finding it hard to plan them otherwise. It's been really easy in the last few months because everyone's like offering to take her. Maybe it's because she's easier to mind. Like babies are probably a bit more daunting to keep late at night or even overnight, or just mind them on your own independently. Like no one really was minding her when she was a baby. I think that it was only when me and Jason started co-parenting that she was even away from me at all. But recently, like my mom's been minding her overnight. Jason's parents have been taking her. So we have been able to do more things. Now, obviously we feel bad asking for people to mind her all the time. So it's not that often, but if we do need to, or like we have a day plan, like we went to the Fontaines together. We went to Fontaines DC together. Feels weird saying the full name. And Saoirse was able to come here and mind her for the night. We're going to Mount Juliet Estate on Saturday for the night, which is my birthday present. And my mom offered to mind her. And my mom also offered to mind her last weekend as well. So it is really nice having people to mind her and stuff. And she's having a good time. It's not like it's torture for her. You know, she loves staying in having sleepovers in her nana's houses. We're definitely not having as many dates as we used to. And even in the evening at home, like we're not really spending quality time because she goes to bed so late. And it probably is the hardest part about the relationship at the moment is because we don't get any one-on-one time, like especially during the winter, and it can put a bit of a strain on the relationship because we're not actually like being a couple, if you know what I mean. We're just being parents, whereas like you have to nourish that time with just the two of you as well so that you can be better parents. Do you know? Advice for 20s. This is a bit of a difficult one. Obviously it's very subjective as to what your experience is as your 20s, but I think it's probably getting worse because of all the comparison. With short form content, you're only getting the snappy shots, the best shots, the highlight reel, whatever's fun, people being productive. You don't see the lagging in between of people like sitting down on the couch or like sitting at their desk working. Whereas you would get that range of content, I suppose, in YouTube videos because it's longer. Whereas with TikTok and Instagram Reels and all, you don't see that kind of boring stuff. So it makes you feel as if you're not doing enough throughout the day, or your life isn't exciting enough, or it's not fun or fast paced, whatever. Whereas in my 20s, at the time, I was like, I'm so lost. I have no idea what I'm doing. I feel like a total waste of space. I don't know if I should go back to college, or like if I should start my career, or what the fuck I should do, or like start interning somewhere, or maybe start acting, or maybe I didn't know what the fuck I was doing. And actually that period of my life was probably really helpful, where I didn't know what I wanted to do because I was trying out loads of different things. I started doing short courses online. I was making a bit of money from YouTube, so it was just kind of like keeping me going so that I could figure out what I wanted to do. It would have probably been a bad idea if I went back to college then, because I probably would have dropped out and gotten disinterested in whatever I chose to study then, because I'm such a different person now to what I was back then. And I know from myself that I would have gotten disinterested after about a year of a course and wanted to change and study something else. Whereas like for your 20s, I think that is the time to try out a lot of different things. If you think you like the sound of a course, try a short course online first. See if you can find a free one and test it out a little bit, because the idea of studying a course and then actually doing it is completely different. Your 20s is definitely the time to be trying out things and stop thinking about and planning to do stuff and just do it. Because my mom would always slag me and be like, oh, Keelan, you're so fucking impulsive. Like, you're always doing this and this and this. Because I'd be like, okay, I'm moving to Galway. I'm moving to London. And actually, retrospectively, I'm really glad I did that, because there's nothing worse than when you're talking about doing something and then you never do it. Like, for example, me, when I'm like, I'm going to move to France. And I was like, I'm going to move to France. But obviously, there's loads, the level of response, I can't be as impulsive as I was back then because I have a child and I have to think about like schools and shit. But anyway, back then when I was in my early 20s and moving around, trying out new places, even if I didn't like it, like I only lived in Galway, I think, for about a year, and I lived in London for about 2 years. And I didn't love living, like I love the places, but I didn't love living there. Do you know, I probably could have made more of an effort to make a home out of a place, which you definitely can do. The more effort you put into a place, the more that you'll receive from it. But I should have, not that I should have, I think it was great that I was doing all those things that would have been seen as impulsive by my mother. Mom, if you're watching this. So I think it's definitely the time, your early 20s, you don't have responsibility, you don't have to think about anyone else other than like obviously being kind and polite and lovely to people, but you don't have the responsibility of like staying in a place for someone. Don't stay in a place for a boyfriend or a girlfriend. Don't move somewhere just for a boyfriend or girlfriend. You have to want to go there yourself as well. Learn to drive, and there's no pressure for you to be like really successful in your job or be getting on the fucking property ladder or getting on with your career. It's not realistic, the stuff that you see online of like people buying a house in their early 20s and like famous TikTok people. It's not normal, and it's not the everyday thing. Like back in the heyday, our parents would only be comparing each other to like Sally down the road. It's not like all of these hundreds and thousands of people that we see every single day. Is really difficult to try get that perspective when you're faced and have to deal with that, and your mind has to catch up and process that all the time. Obviously, if you're not on social media, it's not as difficult, but you obviously only really hear about people's positive experiences or their success stories. You know, parents are only bragging about like good things that happen to their kids. They're not really being saying like the failures or whatever. But obviously everyone is experiencing failure in the same capacity that you are. It's not as if you are exclusively the only one experiencing failure. It's like everyone has different experiences and will endure failure at some point, maybe at a different time of their life. And also another thing I'd like to say, particularly on women, for some reason there's so much pressure to be so successful but before the time that you're 30. I don't know if it's because like the 30 flirty and thriving thing, or if it's the Forbes under 30. That's like, there's so much you hear about 30. It's almost as if that's our funeral, or that's like the cutoff point for when we can achieve success. Why is it even a Forbes under 30? Like, who the fuck is achieving that much shit under 30? But anyway, when that's not the case, you have your whole life to be successful. Like, look at fucking, what's the man's name? Kris Jenner? Is that her name? Kris Kardashian Jenner? Look at her. She only got her esteemed success in her 50s. Well, from her children, but it's fine. You know, she's still successful. You don't have to have all these things achieved by the time that you're 30. It's just like not realistic. So I would say to use your 20s are the times to, your 20s are the time to be experimenting. It's the time to be taking risks. It's the time to be meeting new people. It's the time to say yes, to be putting yourself out there. You have probably the most energy that you're ever going to have. Also, I would add to look after your body, brush your teeth and floss properly, drink water, do a bit of exercise, not like a rigorous amount. You don't have to be working out every single day, but try to look after your body in a way that your future self will thank you. And also in a way that you will have enough energy to be doing all of these things as well. Have fun. Go to workout classes with your friends. Talk to people at the workout classes. Say, hello, my name is Deirdre. Have dinner parties in your house, in your shared flat. Do you know, have all these things, organize, reach out to someone and be like, do you want to go on a coffee date? Not in a creepy way. Go for nice sunrise walks in the mornings. Just do all of the things that you want to do in your 20s and you'll build the habits and the lifestyle that you want to create for yourself. Do what you want. Move country if you want. Like, who cares? Who cares? Stop waiting around for someone to tell you what to do, but just do whatever you want to do in your 20s. Do you know what I mean? Anyway, advice to your 21-year-old self. I would probably say stop being so obsessed with male approval. Stop being so obsessed with trying to be cool. Read a bit more and move to Paris. I would have said to my 21-year-old self, I would have went back and said, move to Paris. Try that out first. Try be a YouTuber in Paris. What kind of interior design do you have in your bedroom? Like, none. It's just the walls are painted brown. I don't like going in there because of the whole bin situation. I don't want to invest any money in there because of just the bin situation. So that's why I'm rarely in there. I don't film in there. I don't like being in there. There's just bad vibes. How do I deal with the guilt of breaking up with someone? Break up with them. Do you know what's worse than breaking up with someone? Being with them out of pity. Would you consider moving countries? If so, which one and what would be your main reasons? So for the last while, I think it's because of the results of the general election. I'm just kind of getting fed up because it's not that, like, I could probably now, I'm getting closer to be able to afford a house in Dublin. And it's not that, especially because me and Jason are in a relationship, we'll be looking at buying a house together. Like, it's not as far-fetched as when I was single. Obviously, that would be absolutely impossible for me to be able to buy a house in Dublin on my own. But now that we're in a relationship, it's like we could, not easily, but like we could, it's a viable option that we could afford to buy a house in Dublin. But now that the option is closer to me, and I don't know if it's because I'm getting cold feet or I'm like, this is my last chance to try live somewhere else before I settle down, because buying a house is such a big commitment. Obviously, having a child is a big commitment, but buying a house is such a big commitment because you are laying down your roots somewhere. You're stuck to that one place. I do toy with the idea. Now, this doesn't mean that I'm actually going to do it. I probably won't. When me and Jason were in London, and I'm having a real difficult time at the moment of feeling really lonely, I've just kind of been hanging out with my family and working is the only thing I've been doing. After Molly went to Abu Dhabi, I was like, this is kind of my last straw. Do you know, we just gotten close, and then she moved to a different continent. And then when I came back from Australia, and I miss Ash every single day. I know my friends miss me as well. It's not like that pathetic, but when your friend emigrates to a different continent, it's like they're moving on and meeting new people every day and having new experiences. They're probably most likely not missing you at home. Like, they might be homesick, you know, but they're not like, oh, I'd love to move back to Ireland so I can hang out with Keelan at the playground on a Sunday. Do you know, it's not sort of that buzz, because there's so many more exciting things happening in different countries where there's more young people. When I was in Melbourne, it was like almost a culture shock because there were so many young people. And then when me and Jason went to London a few months ago, when did we go? Oh, no, last month. We went in November. It was so nice because we got to see all of our friends. But every time I walked in the street, I could not believe how many young people there were, just like out on the street, walking down. And I don't mean like young people, like teenagers. I mean like people my age, young. So many people my own age, because I don't really see that anymore. And when I used to walk around Dublin, you'd kind of expect to bump into someone you know, because it's not that big, you know, you would bump into someone. I haven't bumped into anyone when I am in Dublin, I haven't bumped into anyone at all, I'd say, in the last 6 months. Maybe one or two people, but I don't bump into people whatsoever. Whereas if I go to London, I am actually going to bump into someone. So I was kind of toying with the idea of moving to London to try it again, but maybe a different area, obviously like a more family friendly area and a bit more of a quiet area, just to be closer to friends. But then as well, I'd be leaving my family behind and like B's grandparents and all that support. So it's like you can't really compare the two, but it's almost as if like I have a community for my family, but like none for me. Does that make sense? It's just really hard not having anyone my own age to see or like just to hang out with. Feels really isolating. It poisons the experience of Ireland because I've always been so passionate about loving Ireland and like sort of nearly defending it because I love the country so much. But every time it's just like, it's almost as if the country is fucking rejecting me. But most likely we won't. But it's just something I think about the odd time.